Hello again everybody, and welcome back to the channel, or welcome if it's your first time here. Today I'm going to be looking at modes. I'm going to show you an easy way that you can hear the different modes but over the same key, if you like. So I'm going to be using the key of E, and I'm just going to be playing over either an E major chord, an E minor chord, or an E diminished chord, and I'm just going to use triads to keep it simple. So an E major triad, E minor triad, E diminished triad, and I'm going to show you that you can get all these modal sounds by just playing the simple humble major scale. We can just play the major scale but get all the modal sounds. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. Before we get into it though, if I can just remind you please, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, do please subscribe. Try and help me out there. Leave a like, a comment, a share, all of that stuff. But without further ado, let me show you how you can just play the major scale but you can get all the 7 modal sounds. So I'm going to start with mode 1. Ionian. This is the major scale itself, and we're just going to play an E major scale over an E major chord, an E major triad. So here's an E major triad. So that's mode 1, Ionian. Now we'll do mode 2. Now this is a minor mode, so this is going to be played over an E minor triad, and all we're going to do is we're going to move that E major scale that we just played. We're going to move that down a whole tone, or 2 semitones, 2 frets. And we're going to play now the D major scale. I'm going to play this D major scale over an E minor chord, and that will give us the sound of E Dorian. So here's an E minor. So that was Dorian, the second mode. We played D major over an E minor chord. Now we're going to do the third mode, Phrygian. This is going to be played over a minor chord. It's another minor mode. And we're going to move that D major down a whole tone now, down to C major. And we're going to play the C major scale over an E minor. So here's the E minor chord. So that's Phrygian, mode 3. And for mode 4, this is a major mode, so we're going to play this over a major chord, so E major, and we're going to move that C major down just a half step, a semitone, to B major. So we're going to play the B major scale now over an E major chord. So here's an E major chord. that's Lydian, that's mode 4. Mode 5, Mixolydian, another major mode. We're going to play this over an E major triad, and we're going to move that B major down now a whole step again to A major, and we're going to play the A major scale over an E major chord. Check this one out. Here's the E major chord. So that's Mixolydian, mode 5. Mode 6, Aeolian, same as the natural minor scale. And for this, we're going to move that A major scale that we just played down a whole step again. And we're going to play a G major scale this time over an E minor chord. So here's the E minor chord. So that's mode 6, Aeolian, and then finally mode 7, Locrian. Very dissonant sounding scale this, or mode. You'll not encounter it that often. And we're going to move that G major scale we just played down a whole step again. So F major is the scale we're going to be playing over this one, and this is going to be played over an E diminished triad. So here's an E diminished. And that's Locrian, E Locrian. So we've just heard E Ionian, or E major, E Dorian, E Phrygian, E Lydian, E Mixolydian, E Aeolian, or E natural minor, and E Locrian. A quick and easy way there to get into the modes and to get these sounds into your head. So whatever key you're playing in, C major, G major, you start with the major scale. So if we're in C major, we would play C major scale over a C major chord. And from there, you would then move down one tone, 2 semitones. That would take us to B flat. We'd change from a C major chord to a C minor chord and play B flat major over C minor. That would give us Dorian. So in the examples I gave you, we were in the key of E major. So mode 1 is the major scale. So we just played E major over a major chord. And then we moved down a tone. We played D major over a minor E minor chord to get mode 2, E Dorian. And then we moved down another tone from D major down to C major, played the C major scale again over an E minor, and that gave us mode 3, Phrygian. Then we moved down a semitone to B major. We played that over a major chord to get the sound of Lydian, mode 4. That's over a major chord. And then mode 5, we moved down a tone again to A major, played that over an E major chord. That gave us mode 5, Mixolydian. Then from there we went down another tone to G major. We played that over an E minor chord, and that gave us E Aeolian, or the E minor scale. And then from there we went down another tone. We played F major over an E diminished triad, and that gave us the sound of Locrian. So I was just using the same scale shape throughout. So the one that we pretty much learned when we first learned this major scale, I was just using that shape, and I was just going up and down it just to illustrate how they sound different. But obviously once you've got this, once the penny drops and you've figured it out, then you can play these major scales in all 7 positions, and you could reduce them down to pentatonic shapes if you wanted to, and play pentatonic versions, so 5-note versions of these scales, to make it a little bit easier for yourself. But I was just playing the full scales so that you get the sound in your head. And obviously, depending on what chord you're playing over, you want to pick out the chord tones. So you want to pick out the notes of the chord that you're playing. So if you're playing an E major 7 chord, you want to pick out those notes. Those are your strong notes. So that would be E, G sharp, B and D sharp. If you were playing over an E minor 7 chord, you'd pick those notes out, E, G, B and D, and so on. So pick out the chord tones, linger on those rather than the other notes in the scale, and just use those as passing notes. But it's quite simple, and if you remember this format where you start on the major scale of whatever key you're in, so if we're in E major, we're going to start with the E major scale, move down a tone, you've got Dorian, move down another tone, you've got Phrygian, move down a semitone, you've got Lydian, move down another tone, you've got Mixolydian, move down another tone, you've got Aeolian, move down another tone, you've got Locrian. So you could think of that formula going backwards. Remember, from E, we're not going up the scale, we're going down the scale. So you go tone, tone, semitone, tone, tone, tone. That will get you all 7 modes. So if the penny doesn't drop after watching this video just once, rewind it and watch it as many times as you need to until you get it. Once the penny drops, and it will do if you keep doing it, then you'll be aware and you'll start to understand how these modes actually work, and how basically they're just all part of the same scale, the major scale. But anyway, that's enough of me waffling on. That's it from me for today. As ever, look after yourselves, and hopefully I'll be back with another one for you next week. Bye for now.